Welcome to the podcast here on Mike Media Incorporated. Now, we got two mics in this motherfucking show. We got Mikey Rotten on the show.
Sir.
Thank you for coming on. If anybody in the future or in the past is watching this, any time traveler is watching this, he is currently on tour right now with Black Smurf, among others. He's doing some awesome shit for the underground, doing a lot of tours. Missed out on that DC show, but you know, it is what it is. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. You're getting a lot of good shows in. Talk about how that tour came about and what shows we can expect in the future.
So basically, me and Black Smurf have been talking for a while about doing some tracks, and then we ended up talking about, fuck it, let's do a tape. And then I had just got off tour with Eddie, Bones, and Jeffrey, or not Bones, I'm sorry, Eddie, Wolf, and Jeffrey, and they were talking about doing the tour with Bones. So I was like, I probably won't slide on that tour, so let me set up something on my own while we're doing that. And then as me and Black Smurf were talking, we kind of came up with the idea of doing touring off the tape. And then we just basically kind of like got with our agent homie who lives in AZ and plotted out the tour, but it kind of took longer than we expected with the tape because the producer was in Australia. So it kind of got pushed back to the last minute, and we had already been like, oh, we're gonna tour off this tape in February. So we ended up dropping the tape like last minute as hell and announcing the tour the very next day, like a month before tour even started. So that was kind of how it all came about and fell together.
What's your favorite cities to perform in and songs to perform in general during this tour?
Probably my track Deadhead. I like doing that song. I feel like it comes with crazy energy. And I just added a song called Run Again to the set recently, and I feel like that one's got really good energy too. But I mean, most of the songs go up, you know, most of the songs are dope, and they're like, a couple of them have similar energy, but a lot of them have like different energy, and they all kind of bring their own impact. I feel like the set overall is like a culmination of different things that come together to make it one piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When you make the song, do you mainly just kind of think about the emotions, or now that you're like recently like doing more performing, do you now kind of make songs for performances as well?
It's actually funny because like my first project that I dropped, what was it called? Rotten Pleasure, I think that's why I don't even know my own shit's name. My first project that I dropped, I made that project with the intention of like, these are show songs, and I feel like those go up the most of the show. More recently, I've been focused on just like catching a vibe, or like a concept, or like having some meaning behind it. But I feel like a lot of my tracks, I'm more like trying to paint a visual, or not a visual, a auditory picture, or an auditory visual, if that makes sense, like a in mind visual on like the landscape and the characters within the piece and like shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you're like a visual, you're actually trying to tell a story, you know what I mean, with everything you're doing.
Yeah, not necessarily tell a story. Sometimes it's like building an environment, if that makes sense.
Okay, there we go. Now I understand it. Now that's cool though. You know, you seem like you're really thinking when you're making your shit. You got a lot of like fucking ideologies behind this shit. You're not just making tracks to make tracks, because that's what a lot of people do. They're just like, oh, I like this sound, I'm gonna make. You seem like you're smart with this shit, and I respect that. And the also the commitment to the live thing. I think that's what a lot of artists don't think about. Is it's like we're kind of like fucking shamans of energy with the shits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to make some like we need to absorb other people's energy, as well as like get people to absorb our energy with the shits. You know what I mean? As musicians, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I used to be a DJ producer before I did vocals, and like I played everything from, you know, hip hop clubs, like top 40s hip hop clubs, to fucking like EDM raves, you know what I mean? To like super experimental weird shit, to like straight like OG hip hop scratch sets. Like I used to be like a scratch DJ, producer, controllerist type motherfucker. Like I was like all about like the live performance aspect, and like through doing that, I realized that it's like you're writing a story of the night as a DJ. You know what I mean? Like you're setting the mood. You gotta follow the energy that's happening, as well as like it's like the best way I would put it is like I make my show sets like my DJ set. It's like I'll have an order of tracks, but like sometimes I don't always play in that order. It all depends on like where the energy's going through in the room, and like what needs to happen next, if that makes sense.
Yeah, how did you like get into that though? Like the DJ stuff. Like what was your name and where was this based out of?
I'm from Louisiana, but I by the time I got like middle school, high school age, I was living in Indianapolis, and I was raised in Indianapolis. Most of that time, you know, being older and being in the streets, but like basically, I grew up doing graffiti. I grew up like real interested in art and doing graffiti and doing stencil art and street art and posters and stickers and screen prints. I was pressing clothes and like, you know, just like from an art standpoint. And through the graffiti art, we met like we met actually, he's like the Pacers DJ. It's like the resident DJ for the Pacers. His name's Cool Hand Lex, but he wrote graffiti. He tapped in with like my like one of my best friends who was like a monster at the time, and he just like gave us a set of turntables, and we started to like learn how to scratch, and gave us a crate of hip hop vinyl, and like we were just mixing all the OG instrumentals and acapellas, like real OG DJ style, you know what I mean? And then we ended up getting more into drugs, hallucinogens, designer drugs, you know, party drugs and shit like that. And we got some ecstasy, tried out some ecstasy, and the other homie who DJ'd had like his like Jim Sounds little DJ set up, and he had like these remix dance CDs, and like we just geeked up off the fucking ecstasy and started like DJing like more a party vibe, and we were like, oh shit, this shit's like low-key hard. So we started throwing hella underground parties and like rocking that, and through that I got more into turntablism, got more into controllerism, production, ended up getting Ableton, like, you know, was doing my thing with like that for years. But it was all through like hip-hop culture, like graffiti. I used to break dance, know a lot of break dancers, like shit like that. Like I was just super into street culture when I was young.
Yeah, that's what some people like. It's not all this internet shit. People kind of don't understand that there can be, if you're in the right area, there can be a very fun in-person culture to this shit. Like it's not just numbers on Spotify. You get what I mean?
Yeah, no, on God. Like I really feel like I don't know, I'm taking, like, don't get me wrong, like I'm on the internet and I make sure all my shit's right on the internet, but like I personally am less worried about like trying to go viral every day than just actually having experiences and touching people like out in the streets. You know what I mean? Like I'm out here doing stencils. I'm out here fucking DIY tour shit in the streets of every city. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here like at the skate parks, like, you know, at the train yard, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I really like not that I have as much time to do all the shit I want to do anymore, but it's like, you know, that's like what I grew up on. That's, so I just continue to do that shit. You know what I mean? Like I'd much rather like give people real life opportunity with shows, or like collaborate with someone else out here, like doing something dope. As far as like, you know, I'd be riding BMX with like the homies, doing little edits, filming for them. Like some of them, like the homie Poor, homie Rich, rides for Colt. He be snapping. So sometimes I'll be out here catching clips with him, doing shit. You know what I mean? Fucking, I don't know. You know, I just feel like there's more than just the internet. Don't get me wrong, the internet's dope and there's so much knowledge out there. And, but, you know, I'd rather be like doing that than flipping through Instagram.
This is a good perspective that we have that I haven't heard of that much on the show. I mean, yes, I've had people on the show that have done their fair share of performances, like very respected artists, you know what I mean? But then it's like, where do we get to the aspect that this shit is real? This shit is not Instagram, and it's like, that's what I think people should focus on. And even fans, I think it's such a good feeling when you're such a good fan of an artist and you see them on tour, because it's like you're a part of the show. It's almost like you're touring with them to a degree. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like the circus is in town. That had a negative connotation, but you know what I mean? It's like you got some. It's like fucking like going to the beach. You know what I mean? With the fucking boardwalk. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah. It's definitely there's like a real, there's a real social aspect to it, and like there is a scene, and the scene extends beyond what you would realize. You know what I mean? Like you'll meet a motherfucker in this city and then go 5 cities away. You know what I mean? 5 states away, and like that dude knows this dude, and they're both gonna be at the LA show, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like there's still a real scene out there. You know what I mean? Like beyond the internet, and people are connected on the internet too. You know what I mean? Those same people are connected on the internet. But for me, it's like harder to like, people be remembering motherfuckers off the internet, bro. I do not be remembering, like, I'll remember you when I see you in person, but off the internet, like, I don't be knowing whose page is who. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, not everyone
unless you got like
face.
a clear, exactly. Like, unless you got like a clear photos of your face and like what you do, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people on the internet do not have that, at least in the fan base.
Yeah, bro, I feel you. But where did the DJing as a youth and those, parties and madness, you know what I mean? When did that transfer to, I'm gonna rap, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna fucking make bangers, and now you're on tour? When did that transition happen?
Well, when I before I moved to LA, I moved to LA like 6 years ago or something like that, maybe a little less. But right before I moved to LA, like, I was just kicking it with like all the homies. A lot of homies rapped, and like I would just record them, make beats. We'd all freestyle and shit, So I was kind of like getting into that vibe a lot more from where I was at previously, and just getting into like hip hop beat production shit like that. I ended up moving to LA, and I was doing like bass music shit at the time. I was like a resident DJ for Exchange, and then Academy LA. There's like large clubs that do underground music. And basically I met like a bunch of new rapper fools on Hollywood Boulevard. I was living out the basement of this studio off the boulevard. It was like trap studios, you know what I mean? But all these, like, I was surrounded by just all these rappers, and like motherfuckers just were all cap. Not everybody was cap, but 90% of people on Hollywood Boulevard are cap as fuck. Like they say, like, basically, like, you'll catch them designered out head to toe, and all their rap songs will talk about like how much money they got and all these hoes and these cars and shit, and then it's like in reality they're like literally finding somewhere to sleep on the boulevard every day, or they're like staying out these trap hotels or trap like studios off the boulevard, you know what I mean? And I just got a new camera, and I was like, damn, I want to like shoot some shit with this camera, and I decided to I wrote a rap song, like making fun of them, and like gathered up all the bullshit designer shit I had sitting around, and like shot a video for the song, and like I thought it was corny, so I never pulled it out. Really, like 6 months after that, I had moved to a new studio downtown, and the homie, like, or not, he wasn't even the homie at the time. This cat, Big Esco, got like pulled up. It was like a confusing situation. It was like the homie fuckboy thought he off the boulevard, which was one of the people I thought was a capper, but he low-key ended up connecting me with Eddie Baker after the fact, you know what I mean? So he wasn't cap. I just assumed everyone was cap on the boulevard because they all just talked a huge game, and I never seen shit. And I'm like, he hit up Big Esco to come to the studio and ended up not even showing up. I didn't even know Esco was pulling up. And big ass, crazy, face tatted motherfucker pulls up to my studio like, "What up, man? I'm Big Esco. The homie told me to pull up." And I was like, "All right, fuck it, come in." And like, he started showing me that shit he was making. I was like, "This shit low key hard." It was like aggressive trap, goth-esque, you know, this dark music, and it was like similar to like, you know, Xavier Wolf or
Yeah, like the horrorcore scene,
it was like,
shadow rap.
but it was like this more raw street aspect of it. You know what I mean? It was like in the same lane, but just was completely different. It was more like almost, I want to say like some Gucci Mane shit, but like hella dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, and it just made me think. I was like, damn, there's more hard ass people out here doing this shit. You know what I mean? And then I showed him that shit just on bullshit, and he thought it was hard. I was like, bro, you know, this is the first thing I ever did. I didn't even think I could rap, or I didn't even think I got a voice for it. You know what I mean? And he just like pushed me to. He was like, let's make a track, fool. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up making like 3 songs that day, and he just kept pulling back up and like making tunes. And then I ended up linking up with Eddie Baker, and some shit happened at a party. Like, I sent him too much money after a party we threw, and then I was like, send some back, and he seemed hesitant, so I was like, just shoot the verse, you know what I'm saying, like bullshitting. And then he was like, all right, bet, and pulled up, gave me a verse like off top. So I was like, oh shit, maybe this shit can really crack, you know. And that was at the point before I was even Mikey Rotten, and the name Lil Hotspot actually came from that first joke song. You know, I mean, I needed like a name for the song and the video. You know, I just wanted to like make the product, you know what I mean? Just like do something artistic with the camera and fuck around, produce some shit, like, you know. So that's how that name came about. And then I just kept using that name for a while till like I started to like actually believe I could do something with it. And Eddie and Wolf was like, you know, I could do tracks with, or they're like I could do tracks with Mikey, I could do tracks with you, but I don't know if I could put out tracks with Lil Hotspot. He's like, and I was like, I feel you, low key, like. So I needed to take it serious and come up with a name, you know. And I just went back to like the old roots. I was like, what got me into music? And it was like hardcore shows and punk shows and shit like that. Like before anything, like that was like the first wave of shit that I was like on. And I just wanted to bring like that same energy. So like I thought of like, you know, I was like, what's some like punk sounding shit? And I thought of like the MySpace days. And there was this bitch, Nikki Metal. And she was like all popular and shit because she had the tattoos and whatever and the hard name. And I was like, damn, like I never even knew what that bitch looked like. But she was hard just based off the name. You know what I'm saying? And then I ended up thinking of Mikey Rotten, and it reminded me of Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols. So I was like, that's hard. I'm going with that.
Yeah, it is a very like, it's a very pretty iconic fucking name. You know?
Yeah, I feel like
like a Lil Hotspot sounds like a Lil Boom or some shit.
Yeah, I just felt like another thing is like content wise, like it was hard to write for Lil Hotspot. It was like, what the fuck does Lil Hotspot rap about?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it had no direction, no purpose, no like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I need something that's more authentic to me and just like my personality. Like, you know, I'm generally like a pretty nice dude, cool, you know, but I'm like mischievous, shit talker, like end up in some situations, fuck shit up, bounce out, like real slick, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, what's some like shit like that, like, and then I was like, Rotten. I was like, all right, that's it.
Yeah, bro. But you live and you learn, and you got a fucking beautiful fucking catalog right now, bro. Like, for real, you got a lot of good tapes out, including the most recent work, which would be Cynical, that EP. What emotions and what type of vibe are you trying to put out with that EP?
I think that one was kind of just track for track. Like I like getting with, if I'm not producing the tape myself, like I like getting with like a producer to do a whole tape. And this cat Lazy Flex that I knew from the bass music world is into the underground rap shit like this. He mentioned he wanted to send some beats. He like sent a couple beats, and I was like, yo, he might be able to rock some shit. So then I ended up like giving him a bunch of beat references and telling him like vibes and shit. And I was like, send me some shit like this. He ended up sending those tracks, and I kind of just, you know, like I don't want to say that tape is really super connected between track per track as far as like, other than they're all just cynical. You know what I'm saying? But each individual track, like I try to paint like a different picture on. Like Iced Over is like I tried to paint the picture of like the current cultural ideologies and like my thoughts and my past actions or perspectives, you know what I'm saying? And like I try to put them in like a medieval castle in the snow,
Dungeon type.
like like dungeon castle, like and how like the hierarchy of like the knight, the king, what the castle represents, like opposed to like the peasants below the castle and like the land. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but that's like the idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like the thoughts that went into like me making that track, and like and then when I'm writing, like I just write about shit that like I relate to or I think's clever or gets out the idea.
Yeah.
At the time.
I have a question though. Have you heard of dungeon rap?
No, I have not.
Fuck, let me put you on. I think you'd love this shit.
You can play it through the speakers right now, type shit.
Let me. I don't know how to do it. I'll just send you some links later, but let me describe it. Let me find the Wikipedia definition, whatever the fuck it is. Okay, here we go. Do you know what dungeon synth is?
Not quite. I'm not hip.
Like it's like kind of like how like a lot of black metal artists do like the weird like the medieval synth shit. Like you know. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like so, it's like a combination of that and like Memphis horrorcore shit, and it's like very like lo-fi. DJ.
Oh shit.
Like DJ Sacred, I think does a lot of that too. I forget, but I don't know. I'll send you that shit later. But it's like if you want to go for that more like you know fucking Iced Over vibe or the cynical type of vibe, that's some crazy ass shit. But that's besides the point. But I'll definitely send you that shit later. But shouts out Dungeon Rap. Shouts out to that project though. I was a big fan of that. And I wish I would have been able to see that you perform some shit. But we'll catch you another time here. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
Now on some more emotional shit. What type of music? What song has been there for you during tough times? What would you say about that?
Of my own music or other people's music?
We can do both. We can talk about both.
Fuck, that's a hard one just because I have so many songs. Like so many songs mean so many different things. Honestly, like probably like the most emotionally impacting music that I kind of refer back to nostalgically, I would say is like Taking Back Sunday. Like the song Bike Scene by Taking Back Sunday. Which is like a random choice, I feel like, but you know, that song be hitting. when I'm not in a great mood or whatever, I bump that shit.
What genre is that? I never heard of this person.
It's like early 2000s emo rock, I guess, alternative ish. It's like super sad boy, but they're like their musical instrumentation and shit, and like the choice in writing, like I honestly feel like I take a lot of inspiration from them writing wise, and just the use of different, like they'll switch tones a lot or like go into a different register.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I kind of pull from that slightly.
It's honestly like if you're making like underground rap or just in general like you know like trap rap, whatever you want to call it, it's better to have influences from non-rap shit as you're making it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that way you just end up being different. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to. I feel like 90% of artists trying to get a come up are just trying to emulate someone who's popular currently. And like you might be able to get, you know, some instant gratification with that, but I feel like those aren't the kind of artists that cut through exactly. Like their own spot in the scene or in the like in their own niche or whatever, niche, however you say it.
Yeah, that shit I'll never figure out how to say niche or niche, bro. Never will.
It's one of those.
Tomato. Now, Now that we're on like the process of making it and inspiration, what blah blah blah. You know what I mean? What non-music art influences your music? This could be
I would say
movies,
just
painters, blah blah.
I would say shit like OG horror illustrations and like definitely like anime culture and anime visuals, I guess. Most definitely the car culture and just like the concept of mechanics and like building something yourself or
Yeah.
the idea of DIY, you know.
Or Goosebumps covers.
Yeah, Goosebumps, Garbage Pail Kids, fucking I don't know, a lot of like I can make a lot of different visual representations. There's also directions I want to take things with, and I have like like I would make like what do you call it? Like those like a treatment. You know what I'm saying? Like a treatment or like a picture collage of fucking of like the way I want to take the sound, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're very like visual with everything. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I see things in my head, but I feel like that's also works against me sometimes because sometimes I'd be like too critical with it, and it's hard to work with other people.
Yeah, so you don't just be making songs with anyone. You feel like you gotta have a vision. You gotta have like a very like solid like connection with the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely just unless they're talking chatter, you know what I'm saying. I'm on the come up still. I'm not fucking rich. I live off this music and art shit, so I have to make some fucking compromises and work with people I generally wouldn't work with.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
other than
understand
that,
that.
yeah, I'm very, very picky about it. And once I get a little bit richer off these streams, then I'm gonna be way more picky with shit and get way more rare with it because I don't be wanting to work with just anybody.
Yeah, but that's how it has to go in the beginning, and I totally understand it. But yes, bro, like I think you're definitely on a fucking beautiful path, bro. I mean, hell, you're on tour. You know what I mean? So like, it's definitely you're already fucking basically like, you know what I mean? Like 75% there, bro. You feel me?
Yeah, I think I'm like I'm at the veil or whatever you'd call it. Like I'm at the threshold right before actually making some real noise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, bro. And speaking on noise and shit like that, and stuff that could potentially be your next biggest hits and stuff like that on the song or EP, mixtape, album front, whatever you want, whatever new stuff you're dropping. What new or upcoming releases could you speak on?
Since I had just dropped 2 tapes at the beginning of the year and I made those fairly like close together, I don't have a lot in the chamber right now, but I have been working on like getting beats and like collecting samples to make beats with, and just like I guess the direction I would be going in with shit is I want to make something more emotional, like some still like gangster and aggressive sounding, I guess you would say, or dark and eerie sounding, but yet like a little bit more soulful and emotional with it. And as well as another project that is going to be on the opposite spectrum, where it's like more experimental, high energy driven kind of show song type shit, I guess. And then I want to do probably another punk project.
I look forward to this, bro. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm definitely going to be checking those tracks out. And good luck on the latest performances. I know you're going to fucking kill it. And thank you for coming on the show. Do you have any more announcements you'd like to say to any of your fans or anybody watching about any music videos or anything like that?
I would say if you're in the Bay Area, stay tuned for the next shows this weekend in San Fran, next weekend in Sacramento. Then we heading back out to LA, OC area, doing the observatory, then out to AZ for the rest of the tour. And then I think me and Smurf got a video coming for y'all off the tape, so keep an eye out for that.
All right, bro. Thank you for coming on the show. Much appreciated. I'm glad that we did this interview, man. We covered some great topics, and obviously, link in the description to check out your music, and I'll definitely link to the tour so people can definitely buy those tickets. And once again, thank you for coming on the show.
For sure. Good looks. Thanks for having me. Stay up.